Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're preparing for our second series of the day here to round out Academy Super Week. CLG Academy taking on Evil Geniuses Academy, and the super heavyweight title of top lane on the line right now. Dokla about to round out winning laning phase potentially against every other top laner in the league right now. That is the big storyline that we're focusing on. But he's not alone, Gubby, on CLG Academy. So talk to me about the strengths of CLG, because they are currently the top dogs in the standings.
CLG's early games have been out of this world. There's really nothing else to talk about when it comes to this team, because they're, on average, up 2,600 gold at the 15-minute mark.
That is insane.
That is wild. And Dokla, as an individual, has a higher gold diff at 15 than any other team on average in the league as an individual. So
that...
Yeah.
Has that ever happened before? Like, I've never heard of a stat like that.
I mean,
before.
Viper was doing it in amateur last year, if we're going to count that. But anyway, yeah, like the way that these guys play early, and it's something that they draft towards. It's something that we know to expect from them. It's something that teams should know to expect from them. But no one has been able to really consistently beat them at it, except for 100 Thieves, where Kennedy had a couple really nice games against Rosethorn, and they were able to kind of scale into the game. But the way that CLG is playing, I think that they have a very set style, and they're very good at doing it. I think that makes them a really fun team to watch in Academy, and it's why they're sitting at the top of our standings.
One of the most active teams in the early game, oftentimes off of the jungle performance. Rosethorn's champ pool is also very unique, very early game focused, and that's getting things rolling with these early aggressive ganks and dives under turrets. But their opponents, Evil Geniuses Academy, Rafa, Tomio's got his work cut out for him here in this jungle matchup, but so does Surdy. That was the big conversation coming into the day.
Surdy put up a massive performance yesterday, and in his peak moments throughout the Academy split, has looked like pretty much the game-changing and the difference maker for Evil Geniuses in their wins, right? When Surdy is ahead and he is crushing lane, the rest of Evil Geniuses come to life. I know we talk a lot about Cowrie, and his performance has always been consistent and incredible, but Surdy seems to be the one that allows the team to push over the finish line and net those wins for Evil Geniuses Academy.
And we have high expectations for Cowrie. This guy was an MVP of the TCL. This is Surdy's first split in Academy. He is the only player on EG that is averaging being up in gold at the 15-minute mark, and I think that he's been playing his best League of Legends this week. If that sounds like recency bias, well, we've had 30 games of Academy when we're done with this game, or, you know, this week. So we have been able to see a lot more tape when it comes to Surdy, and I've been really impressed with his play. I think that he's really starting to level up, especially that consistency, something that he really lacked in amateur, something that EG is struggling with as a team, but Surdy is starting to show it as an individual. That's great progress from him.
So let's zoom in then on this top lane matchup, because Surdy recently has been impressing us very much, but what do we feel about him into Dokla? Big Dokes on CLG, because that is a very scary opponent for him right now, Cubby.
I think that it's something where I just want to see if Surdy can step up to the challenge. Dokla has been the king of the top lane. I think that as an individual, no one has been more dominant in Academy than Dokla. The numbers speak for it in itself. And if Surdy is able to give this guy a run for his money, keep in mind, this is Surdy's first split of Academy, but someone that we have high hopes for. His ability to do things in amateur that no other top laner was really able to do. There were some games that he went 10-1, some games that he went 1-10, but the highs were very good for Surdy.
It's true.
And he is starting to show more of that and starting to get rid of some of those games where he is just chain inting. So I think that this has been a really nice development arc for Surdy, and he has a good chance to show how far he really has come against Dokla, who, as I said before, has been the king of the top lane.
And I want to jump in on this point as well. When you're looking at someone like Dokla, who's had a little bit of taste of LCS through Optic Gaming when they were swapping in between him and Alorum, and also has now been in Academy for slightly longer time than Surdy overall, getting onto Team Liquid Academy last year. The only difference really is amount of experience on stage and just overall competitive vibes. So Dokla knows what it's like to be a super aggressive top laner that wants to push for these huge leads, but also knows what the appropriate time windows are, as Surdy still trying to nail the consistency on when he can play forward and when he has to back off a little bit.
And it's awesome seeing Dokla develop as a player, because I remember back to 2019, back when teams were doing their own academy streams. I was actually working with Optic back in those days,
It's
casting
true.
Dokla in the top lane. And the big story around him at the time was he did struggle on carry champions. He wasn't often winning those matchups, and then would have to pick up wins on things like the Ornn instead, and then was playing more of a role player on the team, put into a box where he wasn't able to shine nearly as much. And I feel like over time, I wasn't giving Dokla nearly enough credit for how much he was improving as a player, because now he's showing that, hey, give him 2 years grinding, and he's showing up massive right now with a very exciting champ pool. So I want to talk about that real quick before we get into pick and ban. How important is the overlap of champ pool going to be here, Cubby? Because both of these players do like one Crocodile in particular.
Yeah, Dokla's Renekton is 4-0 with a 19.5 KDA in those 4 games. That's a lot. Now, he also has played the Graves a lot, which I think CLG is one of the few teams that I actually really like the Graves on, because they play so well with the priority. I actually want to return, though, to some of the things that Dokla has been talking about in this early season, because keep in mind, he was in the Proving Grounds final for Team Liquid, but wasn't a full-time starter in Academy. That was still Jenkins' spot. And now on CLG, Dokla is someone that doesn't have a ton of words all the time, but his words carry a lot of weight. And I just pinging Dokla, he said earlier this year that I put a lot of work into this offseason, and I just want that to show. And it has been doing nothing but showing on the stage for Dokla and the side of CLG. And I also want to say that he said that his competition is Darshan and everyone else is whatever. Surdy has a chance for that to not be whatever, and I want to see if Surdy can step up to the task.
A lot on the line here for Evil Geniuses Academy and their young top laner. And with that said, Pigman is ready, so we're going to pass it back over to Rafa to get us going for Game 1 of our second series to end out Super Week.
All right. I'm taking the throw, Kangas. Doing a little something that I used to do on another show that me and Kangas are a part of. And now that the throw is in my hands, Cubby, we get into this Game 1 of the top lane heavyweight showdown that we have been pretty much setting up the narrative for. I'm just going to say, there's no way this should happen, but if one of them picks a tank, I'm going to be pissed, because I want to see carry on carry action. I want to see both of these top laners fighting it out to the death. Level 1, level 2, level 5, every level. Just fight, 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 fight. Assert your dominance in the top lane, baby.
And neither of these top laners have been afraid to throw down, as Dokla himself. We're throughout 16 games of Academy. Dokla has 9 solo kills. That's 4th in the league. And just some of the numbers behind his dominance. He passes the eye test. He passes the stats test. He is breaking statistics with how far ahead he is as an individual in gold in these early games. And no one has been able to give him a run for his money yet. Now, I really want to see if that can be Surdy. Of course, Surdy is someone that I think we're putting a lot of hype behind, but he has been playing very well this week. And I want to see if Surdy can continue to do so as we try and move into the pick ban a little bit more, as apparently we did have, fortunately, a lobby DC. We'll be trying to get back in the pick ban as soon as we can, but it does give us some more time, Rafa, to talk about and tease what's going on here.
Unfortunately, it seems that we had a disconnect from Skytech. Evil Geniuses will look to reconnect as fast as possible with their support online as well. Already, we saw the first 3 draft picks kind of come up, and now, even though that the team... How do I say this? Gwen was the first pick, right? So, normally...
You'd expect that.
Well, I thought there was going to be a lot of focus towards the Renekton as something that was Kangas highlighted before the draft phase started.
Well, Rafa, in NA, we have a new meta that you might be familiar with, as apparently, I don't know if you were the leader of a church, I don't know if you were a follower of the church, you have been spreading a lot of church, one might say, propaganda. I'm referencing a few videos that we might have had fly on Academy yesterday for any of our loyal Academy viewers. And unfortunately, while your bets may have come up short, the effect that the church has had on Academy is being shown. With Gwen first pick, being able to be flexed to jungle and paired up with Enchantress's mid has really helped Gwen rise in priority. And I would not be surprised if CLGA, Dokla, and Rosethorn could potentially flex that between those two. And maybe triple we see something new from him. It is Triple's first week in NA. This team they've played more games on stage than they have in practice with Triple. I think that's important to know.
I just want to say I'm willing to be wrong always for content. That being said, CLG, with this Gwen first pick, something you also noted that because it's a scaling pick, it can also potentially be flexed towards jungle. However, that would be out of the wheelhouse for Rosethorn.
Would be
since a lot of the picks and the comfort style for him has been junglers with early agency, things that can explode and just completely blow the game up within the first 10 minutes of the game.
It's something that I think Rosethorn as a player, even thinking back to his days in amateur before he had scouting grounds, he loved to invade. Like I'm thinking back to his Kindred, his Lee Sin, his Rek'Sai, and his team has kind of formed an identity with that and around that. As I think that CLG, what really shocked us early in the season was it felt like while every team was kind of trying to find their footing in early game and figure out how to play as a team, CLG is a team that has more experience under their belt, but the way they were able to make these three-wave plans every single time, Rosethorn was pathing towards priority, he was attacking a jungle camp or diving a lane when the third wave hit. And we haven't really seen any other team in Academy consistently do that. CLG's been doing that every single game with Rosethorn. So I think it really speaks to how aggressive this team plays, how they've kind of shifted into some of their strengths in the early season with some of the players they have, and it's really allowed Rosethorn to shine because this guy was a middle to bottom of the pack jungler in Academy regular season, and now he seems like one of the best junglers that we have in the league, as him and CLG are just off to an electric start.
Speaking of electric start, it's the Graves' first pick for Evil Geniuses alongside the Aphelios. Now, one could assume that this would be going towards the top lane for Surdy.
Hold on.
However, Tomio is quite the Graves jungle enthusiast. In fact, the one that just blows your face up in less than a second with the full lethality build, as he did so in the past, especially towards the tail end of Summer Proving Grounds last year. We haven't necessarily seen it on the Academy stage so far, but I'm pretty sure he has pulled it out in some of the Champions Queues games if you've been paying attention on Twitter.
The specialty for Tomio, as I know that it is also, I guess, technically his first full split of Academy. Did make an appearance at the end of summer last year, but something that we've always known Tomio for, never afraid to bust out the Graves, and it is an interesting response to the Gwen because it is a lane that a lot of pros are pretty comfortable playing, given that Graves gets a lot of early shove against Gwen. And now I'm curious, is EG kind of holding this as a flex to match the flex of the Gwen from CLG? Curious to see where this ends up going, as CLG now are still looking for a support, and that is exactly what EG is trying to attack, is expecting them to maybe take away a Leona, something else that might not pair well with Aphelios, but does pair well with Varus as this draft continues.
Slate, Cubby, I want you to pull up some stats for me on Twisted Fate for Soligo, because I know this is one of his signature picks during the summer days of last year.
You want all time? He's only played it once so far this split.
Yeah, but sure. I mean, I'm really looking for 2021 stats when he was
just
on
a mission
for Dignitas in particular. But knowing that roster had strong top lane setup and Lorlo on that squad, Soligo, a huge proponent of the Twisted Fate, being a facilitator, allowing these opportunities for himself to roam out of lane and set and snowball his side lanes for success. We still don't know where this Graves is going technically, as we've already pointed and hinted that it could be a flex pick between Tomio and not necessarily for Surdy. But if it is for Surdy, this is a pick that you get a lot of benefit of off of paying an investment to roaming Soligo out of lane and getting the Graves snowballed.
And I'm interested to see what EG does at this part of the draft, because it looks like CLG, they've banned out 2 counters to Gwen in the top lane. And so it feels like, given the non-Enchantress mid, they are going to slot Dokla, that Gwen, which he is 3-0 on in this early season. And EG will take their support blind And now we'll save that Graves flex to either match the Gwen or hand over to Tomio pending this jungle matchup as Rosethorn surprisingly still has a lot of his champion pool open, could still grab something like a Zen if he wants, but no, it's going to be the Gwen jungle as it is Renekton coming through for Dokla. 4-0 with a 19.5 KDA in our first round robin. He has been fantastic as a player, but has been doing the most damage on this champion. Oh, the Alistar too.
Wow. Oh,
okay, I really like the alley here.
Oh, that's super sick.
Yep.
I think this is our second overall Academy spring showing of Alistar in particular. I think the first one was Yurson as TSM were trying to find a different engage support to give him the tools. And whoa, Surdy reaching deep into the pockets. You called it out before. We were hinting for it, and it has now come to fruition. Both of CLG and Evil Geniuses pulling out primary blind pick top laners in Gwen and Graves, flexing it to the jungle so that they can pull out their true top lane counter picks. And now we get the end result. It's a giant crocodile versus a man with a lamppost. Who is going to win out on this one, Cubby?
It's an interesting response for me because it does give EG this later game, side lane presence, and it is really telling me that EG wants to play through Surdy in the top side. They're going to really try and attack Dokla because in isolation early, Renekton is good into Jax as he is into most lanes. But as Jax gets items, as he scales up, Jax does get more and more windows where he can win. And when you have this Twist of Fate, when you have this Graves, I want to see how much emphasis and how much EG can attack this top side. Because Saligo's Twisted Fate, if we're going back to last summer split as you requested, Rafa, he was 6-0 on that champion and is 9-3 on the TF throughout his career. So if Saligo's able to get up to the top side and help out Surdy attack Dokla, this is the game plan for EG. Surdy's been playing great this week, and if EG wants to take this game one, it's going to have to continue.
I told you there was a good reason for pulling up the stats.
Rafa's memory, it was good. Just couldn't remember the numbers.
Because I distinctly remember at some point we were covering a show and you went into it saying, oh my god, Soligo is undefeated on this pick. And I'm like, I wonder if that's still true going into this game right now. Evil Geniuses, other big caveat to this matchup, where CLG, yes, they have, flexed their top laner pick into now the jungle for Rosethorn, and it's more of a different look since this is not a jungle pick that gets to really thrive in early agency for ganks and invades. For Tomio, this is a return to comfort because the Jarvan meta, the Xin Zhao meta, everything that we've seen for early agency, Tomio has adapted to it pretty well. He's able to be a team player and can facilitate a lot of his fellow teammates here, but the Graves, the Nidalee, this is what Tomio really makes a name for himself for. If we even reach deeper pockets and, past times, Tomio on the Rengar as well, carry champions that take a lot of resources, a lot of investment, a lot of farm, and now Tomio back onto something like this Graves. It means that Evil Geniuses are trusting into their top side to take things slowly so that they can scale on up and have stronger mid game than they would with a Jarvan.
Now, I do have a couple concerns for each team. For EG, Saligo's Twisted Fate. CLG has a lot of ways to deal with this. They have an Alistar, Ahri, and Varus both took the cleanse, and of course, Gwen is immune. So I'm curious. I think that Saligo, the plan is, of course, to attack the top side, but that's really the only place that he can attack. The other thing I'm concerned about for the side of CLG, it's likely going to be the Lethality Varus for Prismal. He is 4-0 on this champion so far this year. And the Varus for Prismal, if it ends up going Lethality, it will struggle. And CLG's comp will struggle with damage in the later stages of the game compared to what EG is packing. And Surdy in the side lane is something that is a backdoor win condition for EG. So I think it's really important to keep our eyes on this top lane matchup, which pans out well for the game plan we had going into this one, Rafa.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense for Prismal to go lethality if Rosethorn was going to be on someone that could really facilitate that snowball. Something like the Jarvan or the Rek'Sai that we have seen already from CLG that just made them so signature in their opening weeks of Academy to just start the game off and explode with a huge early mid-game spike. Problem is now, Rosethorn has to be taking things slow, because on the Gwent, you don't really hit your stride until at least the Nasher Tooth being completed, and then the Riftmaker for some as well. So it's going to be a little bit more time before Rosethorn feels comfortable really pushing tempo here.
And that is a different change of pace for CLG, as Rosethorn has been the one that has really been the most aggressive jungler that we have, and the only person who is further ahead in gold diff at 15 is Malice, who is getting it done in quite a different way than Rosethorn is. So Rosethorn definitely shifting focus this game, utilizing the flex that they had, and we're going to have to see if it pays off for CLG as they keep on trying new things, something that we really like to see out of all these academy squads, even our top team in the league. Oh, this
Tomio wants to fight for this crap. However,
awkward.
he doesn't have mid lane push. Tomio, you have to respect this one. Oh, no. Tomio, he gets one more dash out, but Rosethorn gets the fall over with a skip and slash, and that's first blood for CLG.
And this is what CLG has been specializing in this season. It's taking winning side lanes and shifting that priority elsewhere. Now, this is a little bit different. It's Triple with the mid lane Ahri that ends up paying off for the side of CLG, but Triple, his first week of Academy, already making a big splash, as it's good to have him back in the league. And that is going to be an early lead for Rosethorn, and a big oops coming out of Tomio, who hasn't had the best start to his Academy year.
I know we were setting up for Tomio to return to a comfort pick. A little unfortunate for the way it started out, as the way Tomio fought for that, either he anticipated or expected Soligo to be able to collapse, but huge wave pushed in by Triple makes it super difficult for his mid laner to be able to respond. And Tomio just staying a little too long, not respecting the 2v1 potential from CLG's jungle mid duo. That lead allows Rosethorn to complete the Leeching Leer first, which is not an insanely huge spike, but one step closer to the Riftmaker, one step closer to these item spikes that allow Rosethorn to be a threatening menace on the Rift.
Something I do want to look out for on the side of EG, Soligo used that TP back, has the Merc Treads. There is a window for EG. I believe Soligo on the next wave, if it is the cannon wave, should hit level 6. And you can see Surdy. All right, wave after this. Surdy's building up a slow push into the Renekton. I want to see if EG can attack that top lane with the TF level 6, because there's a big wave being stacked up by Surdy that Dokla is going to be forced to deal with. And you can see Dokla, he is on the back foot in this matchup, as Surdy, very comfortable on he had counter pick. Definitely one for something that's a little bit riskier, given that Renekton does win early, but he's been playing this matchup very well, and now Soligo, instead of going topside, actually looking bot as Prismal.
4-man, Prismal flashing the Zenith Blade, cleansing the gold card, but it's still too much
Nice.
damage from the rest of Evil Geniuses to handle, and they clean him up easily.
Well played by EG, as we were expecting them to attack the Renekton, but instead go right for Prismal, who, that was a little bit of an awkward flash. He did dodge out of the Zenith Blade, but wasn't able to create much more space. Now EG looking to continue to attack.
Breezy, you're a cow, but you're not that tanky quite yet. Skytech taking up as many turret shots as he can, but Evil Geniuses, with the juggling of the aggro, managed to not drop a single member.
Very clean dives coming out from EG, as now Surdy, his wave's bouncing back. He knows that given his team has just showed bottom, he might be in trouble, and will guess correctly, as Rosethorn goes for the trade, but he does not win this.
Going back in, Counter-Strike. Rosethorn doesn't have needlework
Popped ult.
available, and
He has
Rosethorn might be forced to pop the Nas button, but Rosethorn just overestimates the amount of damage that he was able to handle right back into Surdy.
Here comes Soligo.
And Soligo comes right back from the fountain, says, "What's up, buddy?" Talk about big dokes, but Triple comes in. They turn it right back around and make me my own words, as Soligo now has to save the wave that has crashed into the tower.
I love seeing the aggression and confidence from Surdy, as he goes for this counter pick. And yeah, he does lose the wave. He's still going to lose out on quite a bit, but he's able to trade something back playing up. And this is why I was really excited about Surdy as a player, because he is never afraid to go in. He is never afraid to test those limits. And when Surdy's on his game, that's when that kind of play pays off, like it just did there in the top lane.
An overall trade 1-for-1. Huge for Evil Geniuses to net the kill on the Rosethorn. Unfortunate that Surty still goes down thanks to Triple matching the roam from Soligo. Both will have burned their ultimates, so now there is a window where, because Destiny is a longer cooldown than the Spirit Rush, Triple can try and see if he can act upon that window first.
Triple does still have that cleanse, so if COG wanted to set up something aggressive around the Ahri. Does have ways to deal with that Twisted Fate of Sligo. So we do see a slight reprieve in the action of this game, but despite the tough early start for Tomio, it's been a nice bounce back from EG.
Thankfully, you know, one overestimation in the early game does not take you out of the game, despite what sometimes the solo queue teammates might overreact with. You know, you got to keep your head in the game. And for Evil Geniuses, the first dragon is going to be their prize, thanks to the priority they built up through that bottom lane dive earlier.
I like how Rafa just, you know, quickly making reference to him not only being a jungler in solo queue, but also to High School Musical, filmed in Utah. Try to sneak that one past me, Rafa. It's not getting past anyone.
I appreciate you remembering that. However, Surdy does not land the counter-strike on the Dokla, so they have to exchange blow for blow. Conquer being stacked up for Dokla, lethal tempo maxed out for Surdy, but he had to pop... Actually didn't have to pop the Grandmaster's Might, so he's not in danger to being dove by Dokla quite yet. I thought that had he burned that, that would have been hugely detrimental.
Yeah, a tad bit of a mistake there from Surdy, as the stun didn't connect. It didn't allow him to win that trade completely, and now he will have to play on the back foot. Surdy is waiting for that Ignite to come back up. Once he gets that Summoner spell off the cooldown, that's when he has the kill threat again on the Dokla, cutting the healing from Renekton. So important, and why Surdy opted for that in the 1v1, but on the flip side of the map, everything's fine and dandy for EG, as CLG, once again, the best early game team that we have in Academy, average being up 2.6k gold at 15. EG is getting the best of them thanks to the bot lane dives that Tomio set up on the recovery, and it's paying off big, but now Kaori is going to have to burn Flashbot.
Yep, off screen. We already know what was going to happen. Surdy goes back in with the counter-strike, but he overestimates how much damage he was able to get back, and Dokla wins out. Flash done. Goodbye, Surdy.
So Kaori did burn that flash, the Alistar, and then the top side Surdy. That trade that he took earlier with Dokla just can't compete with the sustain of Renekton early. Ends up getting taken down. Dokla, this Renekton for him, 4-0, 19.5 KDA. He's been the king of the top lane so far in Academy for a reason, and he's showing Surdy why, just right there.
At some point, we need to just make a meme or a graphic with Dokla, and then just put his face on the King K. Rool character. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to bring in other IP to lead. I feel like we can just do that with Renekton. So, but I appreciate the sentiment.
This is the references, man. Although, you gotta... Thank you for the reminder. Always have to keep things Runeterra related. Man. Stick to Arcane. But Renekton isn't Arcane yet, so it's not as fun. But for Surdy, the fun comes down to how well can he bounce back now that Dokla has gained such a monstrosity of a lead in the top lane.
Yeah, so it looks like Surdy is going for the Trinity Force on the Jax, and I don't think he wins this matchup until he gets Trinity Force plus potentially Bork components. If that's what he wants to go towards next, Renekton should have the advantage until then. But of course, Surdy does have the Summoner Spell advantage, so maybe he finds an angle that I don't know about in terms of general items builds. That's how that one should go. Meanwhile, Tomio and Rosethorn
pops the collateral damage for an escape route. Rosethorn, though, closing in with Needlework. Skytech, I think, is going to be the sacrificial lamb for this one. Charm lands, and good night.
And Skytech just caught out with Tomio. Another new member of EG who had some nice performances early in the season, but definitely struggled in his series yesterday as EG. Fun split against the 100 Thieves. That one had a lot of action in it. Yeah.
I think Skytech is just being a homie, taking the stock for Tomio in that instance. Otherwise, Tomio would have been the one that ended up dead. Someone's got to be the sacrificial lamb in that case, and rather be the support than the jungle.
Something we haven't brought up yet, Rafa, is the fact that Rift Herald is in the pockets of Rosethorn, and now Kaori...
Breezy had a good idea, knowing that Kaori didn't have Flash from before, but didn't account for that he had the Gale Force for the active, and Breezy, unfortunately, the attempt goes awry.
Oh, man. Kaori is such an exciting player to have in Academy, as this guy just some of the mechanics of the plays that he is able to make are so good. And now off of that,
and Breezy doesn't have Unbreakable. No damage reduction to stop the pain train that is coming in from the rest of Evil Geniuses. SkyTech taking up one more turret shot. Again, the turret aggro juggling is just beautiful from Evil Geniuses.
The Jax top was all bait. Here I was thinking they were going to play towards the Jax. It was going to be tough to attack Prismal and Breezy in the bot side, but that's 2 dives in a row where they've gotten both sums out of Prismal and both kills on the bot lane of CLG. That's why EG have been able to keep this game close in the early stages. But CLG now looking to bounce back. That Rift Herald has been dropped mid.
Charm is being dodged out by Soligo. Rosethorn gonna press his mark under the turret. Needlework wasn't used yet, but just getting a lot of damage with the snip. But Evil Geniuses still committing Cowrie towards the bottom side of the map while sending everyone towards the mid lane just to protect this tower from going down. Allows them to net first brick of the game. Oh, hold up. Well, that's a lot of damage, but that's a lot of damage back. Whoa, 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 CLG! A little too aggressive. They get the turn back, but what will they pay in response? Dokla comes in, saves a little bit, trades one back for the following members of Triple and Rosethorn under the dive. But Evil Geniuses, we got to circle back to this early game that they've opened with.
Tomio, that time around, that homie stock ended up being rather fruitful as him going down, stepping up, gets 2 kills for the side of CLG. They stop the first brick from being taken by CLG, get it for themselves, and now Surdy. Oh boy, okay, that jump is gonna.
oh no. All right, well, Cubby, what do you want to talk about during this unfortunate time?
Hang on, he has a chance. He has a chance.
Oh, wait a minute, Grandmaster's Might, no dominance available. Yeah. Wow, he actually pushes them back. You know what? I underestimated him. That's on me. That's my bad.
Imagine if he had a real weapon, Robert.
Damn. That's crazy.
Stick to Runeterra with the references. Easy.
I can't help it. I love all games, man. We're Rosethorn taking this red buff. I thought something more exciting would happen. I guess Tomio is making his way with SkyTech. They're just a little late on the invade. Rosethorn gets out. However, there's multiple members here. It's a 3-on-3. Rosethorn, snip. I believe Tomio was able to take some of the chicken nuggets away, but Rosethorn still walks away with the big one.
And EG, so both of these teams, scaling elements in different positions. I am going to favor EG, given the Aphelios compared to the Lethality Varus and the Jax versus the Renekton. So I do like things for EG as this game goes on, and it's been a really nice early game against the best early game team we have in Academy, the #1 team in our standings. They're up in gold at the 15-minute mark.
Whoa. Triple with the... oh, God. Well, Soligo does flash the charm. Okay. Has to burn a summoner spell for that. Soligo still has Destiny for the next roam, but Triple... It was pretty damn terrifying that Soligo walking up to collapse onto the wave, and then Triple says, oh, you think I'm in danger? You're the one in danger, buddy. Now, Dokla might be the one that is also feeling the same sentiment. Tomio slowing him down with the smoke screen. Surdy landing one more bonk strike. Can he find the Counter-Strike under the tower? They're going for it. They want it. Dominance is going to be popped, though. Counter-Strike does land, but Surdy is still taking the turret. They didn't juggle the turret aggro beautifully on that one. And meanwhile, Soligo, still no flash available after the last attempt from Triple to collapse onto him. SkyTech trading one back on to Breezy, dodging out as many damage as he can. Tomio with the great escape takes the portal. Meanwhile, we're back to the top lane. Camera is just going crazy because there's so much action. Cowrie, Rosethorn throws up the crab emote. It's a party here in game 1 of the series.
Okay, so the bot lane dive, that was pretty disastrous from EG. As Surdy, Tomio try and push too hard. Dokla reminds them why they're king, and them to get the flip side of the top lane. Once they spot 2 bottom, this means that CLG has the free... They just get to go, right? This is the free parking, you know, Soligo, you can't park here. CLG can, considering EG just showed all their members spot. Get the attack. SkyTech trades one back, and then look at Rosethorn on the Gwen. Some nice movement to make sure that he's able to stay alive on the back half. Didn't catch it the first time, then you were missing out. So we have to return to live. EG, it still is an okay game state for them. The gold lead has been flipped around. CLG now has it in their pockets, but those 2 dragons for EG are critical, and it's another powerful soul, as we do have the Hex Tech on the Rift. Speaking of Arcane.
Yeah. Now you're just going to make this an absolute point. Just be like, hey, Mark, you can just reference Arcane, and we'll get through it. You know, we don't have to do anything else.
Anytime I can give you a little bit of friendly grief, I'm going to take that for myself.
Cubby is also just being a homie and making sure that I keep my job as well. So the rest of
You haven't seen our contracts.
Yeah. CLG Academy managed to trade the second Rift Herald on their side of the map, which will give them more turret destruction power, which is something they severely need against someone like Jax, who will just make quick paper mache out of any tower the later the game goes on, potentially looking for a flank.
As I think he's just still going to try and maybe secure Tomio these chickens.
Hell yeah.
When in doubt, play for Raptors.
Play for jungle, baby. This is what I like to see.
It's not bad. When in doubt, play for Raptors. As EG is still... Map's got a little bit more quiet, and I do like how CLG are respecting some of these sides. And I know that it is the nerf Twisted Fate on this patch, as some of that Q damage was taken down a little bit. TF, of course, remained on the ban list for the majority of games at the highest level. But Sligo still has all the gold cards, all the power that you can get, and it's now Dokla. He has 4 rotating, and Surdy, he's going to have to Q out of here.
Oh, he's finding it back. Oh, they have the collapse going down. He might go down, but can the rest of Evil Geniuses turn this? Oh, it doesn't look like they are going to. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, a bit of a misread from Surdy. No one showing in that top side. He did have the 1v1, but Dokla, he had 4, and can't win the 1v4. So, will be another tower falling to CLG, and likely a second crash from that Rift Herald as well as CLG. No, it wasn't the perfect early game from them, but still flexing some of their muscles, flexing why they are on the top of our standings. They've really brought it back nicely in the mid game, and it's been off the back of Dokla.
And CLG Academy saying, even if our early game at 15 goal difference stats are now jank because of this one game, we're going to still make sure we're doing our best to win this game no matter what. And Evil Geniuses have made it pretty damn difficult to do so based on what they did to Prismo Breezy in the bottom lane, accelerating Cowrie to the point where, as an Aphelios, he is going to outshine and outperform in consistent damage in these team fights. Prismo, thankfully, most of these members from Evil Geniuses are not straight up tanks. They're still carries, and they will be slightly squishy. They won't be as durable, so these full lethality arrows will still make a mark.
And EG, I am curious that they are trying to fight on this window, as if I'm EG, you can play sides out okay. You can try and funnel Surdy. That's not the plan. EG, they're trying to play for this dragon through the bot lane, but it's a tough setup for them. As CLG with Breezy have quite the angle.
Oh,
now
no.
Skytech's caught.
Skytech flashed away, but he goes in. 3-man Solar Flare, Moonlight Vigil from over the wall. Cowrie can't get any more damage safely out. He doesn't have flash available.
Oh, no.
Oh my god! That was filthy! They just destroyed them!
Breezy's Alistar, it's a pick that he is always willing to bring out when it's the right time. He's already played it once in Academy. Into Leona. It's another game for Breezy to set up, and man, did he just... He knocked 2 off, and CLG quickly knocked them down as EG. They're fighting in the strongest point of the map for CLG. This is where their comp, they're very powerful at the moment. And CLG punishes them for stepping up, not together as a team. End up taking the dragon and taking the fight.
And take a look at the replay once again.
So
Knowing
split,
that Cowrie
yeah.
doesn't have flash from before, Breezy takes that opportunity and just the overwhelming amount of damage. The Orbit Deception, Rose Thorn's Needlework. Oh.
And they were incredibly split as Soligo TP to the bot side as EG were trying to play through bot to try and access that dragon. But Surdy was mid. He was spotted. Skytech was the only person in that river. No one was there to support him. He kind of had to give his life just to go in, and it ended up being a big issue. As now as we return onto the map, we've got EG trying to set up on this top side as 3. CLG trying to redeploy on the map. They're trying to get control over the Baron. And CLG, despite this early game not going their way, keep in mind, they were down 1k gold at the 15-minute mark. They're now up 4.5k as they have turned things on its head so quickly in their favor and have gotten back on the pace they like to play. And now they're looking to continue that in the top side as the TP is coming in. They want to attack.
Destiny is available now. Can Evil Geniuses turn this around?
no.
But the Rose Thorn Needlework just tears through both Tomio and Skytech. Sligo comes in just to die. The rest of CLG clean up super easily. Surdy's on the other side of the map, but he's nowhere close to threatening a tower structure. Cowrie is chunked below 50% HP. Breezy can't necessarily punish, but he can prevent him from getting in. And with the Baron live, that is exactly where CLG are going to go.
And CLG, they're playing these comps that have to play quickly. And Some people might see this as a risk, but CLG, they see everything as an opportunity. And the way that they've been able to turn this game around, utilize the powerful early tools that they have, this is what CLG has been doing all split in Academy. And I cannot emphasize enough how good this play is from them. As I mean, that replay, that was almost as fast as CLG's been able to turn this game back in their favor. And all of a sudden, 22 minutes in, it's like that early game never happened for EG. They're up 7k gold. They have a Baron as they're coming back out onto the Rift. And they're looking to take everything that CLG still has, or EG still has up in the hands of CLG.
Yeah, one might even say that CLG Academy didn't necessarily lose out on the opportunity to make their early game. They just had it delayed, a few minutes. It didn't come online quite as fast. With CLG Academy now have to face with the response as an answer from Evil Geniuses Academy. They know that Soligo sitting on top of a control ward, but gold card timed out. Everfrost landing into Charm. Triple trying to play out through this as much as he can. Gold card will still land. Tomio flashing forward. He has the damage for the collateral damage to execute him as well. He's just going to need auto attacks to do it, not even burning the ultimate ability. But now that opens up top side of the map to get collapsed on. Surdy and Skytech under threat, under fire. Counter-strike will rip through Dokla, but not take him down quite yet. I just say that. I take that back. Turret aggro was not correct on the side of CLG Academy. They lost out on Dokla. Now Rosethorn's on the run because Surdy just picks up a double in the wake.
Prismal's here. Oh, it connects.
Oh, Chain of Corruptions beautifully done by Prismal. Moonlight Vigil only connects onto the backline. That doesn't stop Rosethorn from just ripping apart Cowrie. He goes back step. One more auto attack. Good night, Cowrie. Now Tomio, can he turn this one around? Rosethorn is on the run. Skip and slash available. Ghost and the NOS button. Ooh. He's out of there, baby.
But still, EG, yes, they drop a couple members, but CLG, they drop a couple shutdowns, and they drop more members as the attack from EG ends up paying off, and Surdy picks up 2 kills. That really gets him back in the game. You see now, he has that completed Blade of the Ruin King. This is the point where he becomes that nightmare in the side lane, and it's going to take more than one member to deal with him now for the rest of this game. And as the game goes on, it is a lethality Varus. It is an Ahri that's going a lot of utility, and they did cut down the Magi stacks on the triple. So EG, yes, it's still a critical deficit for them, but those set of plays at least try to continue to open up the opportunity for EG to extend this game, get the gold lead back in their favor, and let their champions continue to scale.
CLG Academy still proves to be one of those teams where even when their identity is known as we snowball in the early game, that's how we get ahead. Even if that window is delayed, or you seem to think that, oh, well, we didn't let CLG snowball, therefore we win. CLG will still push and fight even through the very last minute of that window and still make it look like they never had a problem in the first 15 minutes of the game. Because now CLG Academy, they're at a point where they're pushing Evil Geniuses to the brink despite a scaling advantage. Now,
Surdy.
They're trying to collapse. Breezy is getting threatened by Surdy. Grandmasters might pop. Dokla has to pop the dominance as well, but Soligo might melt just to triples damage alone. But Tomio and Skytech, they turn around. Solar Flare and the collateral damage line up beautifully. The rest of CLG are going to get melted. And Evil Geniuses, they already knocked down the Magi stacks from triple. Rosethorn losing out on his investment as well. The stonks are going down. The market is collapsing for CLG Academy. And Evil Geniuses looking for one more straggler, preventing Breezy from recall. And this cow is going back to the grind factory. Burgers are up on the menu for Evil Geniuses. Hashtag live evil, baby. That's almost the ace. Prismal's the only man left standing. And it looks like Surdy's trying to find him.
Prismal did get the dragon while all this was going on, and that's why EG pushed for that fight so hard, because Prismal was not there. CLG took a gambit that EG were going to try and set up for the dragon yet again, but instead, they responded to the top side with even more numbers. And all of a sudden, Rafa, this game has been back and forth. EG have pulled themselves back into this one off this replay. As we spot again, CLG, they're going for this play on EG's side of the map when Prismal wasn't even out of base. And Surdy, props to him. He knows his limits on this Jax. Just going in 1v2 and now 1v3 off of a great engage from Skytech that splits up the rest of CLG. This fight was easy for EG, and CLG gifted it to them in the 4v5 where they're trying to make plays on EG's side of the map against a Twisted Fate.
Yeah, the fact that Surdy and Soligo bought so much time and tanked so many of the resources from CLG's initial engage, it was incredibly easy for Skytech and Tomio to come in, set up the cleanup duty for himself as well as Cowrie to pick off any stragglers from CLG Academy. This next Baron buff is coming up in a minute, which was CLG's Academy's saving grace last time, and their reward as they picked it up off of a last fight. But now, the window is slimming down, Mr. Cubby. Evil Geniuses are spiking hard. The damage is coming through. And for CLG Academy, a lot of the investments, as we already pointed out, Triple already bailing on the Magi stacks. He's saying, oh God, my investment has crashed. I gotta sell this now because I don't think I'm ever getting it back.
Now, the good news for the side of CLG is that Rosethorn is pretty much a solo laner at this point. He has been getting really fed throughout this game. And curiously enough, Tomio actually with a Black Cleaver on the Graves. Now, this will decrease the armor across the table, and CLG actually has quite a bit of it between their top side of the map. It's going to help Surdy and Cowrie pump out even more damage. Interesting tech is, I think CLG... So one thing I really like out of CLG, they've been drafting these early game compositions, but when things go haywire, when the game isn't in their favor, they're not afraid to throw Hail Mary. And this is one where they're catching EG heavily off guard, and we have a wild trade going on as Surdy is trading out an inhibitor while CLG is taking one of their own.
Now, how far will each team go? CLG, thanks to the Portal Gaming, are able to swiftly get on out. Surdy will exchange and trade inhibitor for inhibitor on the other side. Sligo, providing Destiny, will give vision of everyone, and this actually will give Surdy a little bit more extra cozy time with Dokla in the base, except I don't think it's going to be cozy for Dokla. He's got to save the base from collapsing. Surdy finally takes his leave, doesn't have Unleashed Teleport, so he can't join this fight on the top side of the map. Skytech a little too far forward, preemptively engaging with that Solar Flare, and the rest of the team from Evil Genius is not quite ready on that play, and now a member down means CLG Academy will push once again. Hail Mary in their eyes for this Baron.
Surdy doesn't have TP, and he's going to show on the bot lane, so that means that EG is just going for the steal with Tomio. Breezy, love the positioning from him. It's really easy to keep Graves out of the pit when you are the cow.
And no Destiny available, so it's very difficult for them to get vision. Moonlight Vigil gives them briefly of 3,000 HP. The ward goes down, no longer seeing it. Control ward gives them vision, 2,000 HP. Tomio goes in, the Rosethorn, though, secures the Baron, and he forces the rest of Evil Geniuses away. A TP from Dokla ensures that the rest of Evil Geniuses will not look to fight and catch out any stragglers from CLG. Surdy doesn't get a chance to trade out this turret, so CLG, despite trading inhibitor for inhibitor, Surdy almost threatening the base, CLG still are holding on, Cubby, and this game is so goddamn insane.
EG's, they've never been a team afraid to send it. And CLG, props to them in the early season. As I mentioned, when they fall behind with some of these early game comps, they aren't afraid to send it and make those plays either, as they know how critical it is for them to continue to hit their timers. And that window continues to run short, but thanks to a good play from CLG, they keep on extending it. As with this Baron, I think it's most certainly going to be a Dragon seeded by EG over to CLG. And you can see EG trying to deal with other sides of the map, and each of these teams trying to deal with the fact that there are super minions now spawning in different side lanes, as EG, of course, took down the bot inhibitor, CLG took down that top inhibitor.
Sligo was on a solo man mission pushing out the top lane, whereas CLG, despite losing out on that inhibitor through the bottom lane, pushed it all the way into the turret of Evil Geniuses. That will give them a huge 30 to 1 minute window where while this dragon is alive, they don't have to worry about super minions ever coming and threatening the base.
Now, the good news for EG is that during this Baron, no one can match Surdy alone in the side lane still, especially now that he has that Death Stance completed. So he's going to still be able to stretch out the map as now Sligo.
Well played from Triple, throwing out the Everfrost to land and lock down Sligo before connecting with the charm. That's one member gone.
That's huge.
And then CLG, they can say, screw the dragon, we can take more remnants of the base.
Yeah,
Surdy has to come back.
Surdy has to base, and I think CLG might push for the end.
5 members to 4. No gold card bot available for Evil Geniuses. Sligo on the cusp of losing with a Twisted Fate pick, something that he was known throughout for in the summer of 2021. Tomio getting locked down. CLG Academy, they see the vision, they see the victory in their sights. They want to push for it. Surdy throwing out Counter-Strike, trying to dodge out, but Dokla finds him with the Ruthless Predator.
Oh no!
Needlework from Rosethorn finds the shutdown. Skytech on the left side, trying to see if he can line up no Solar Flare available, maybe just a stun or a Zenith Blade to loop, do something.
Fine
but
time.
CLG Academy, they just are holding the wave, protecting the minions from
goes
going
back.
down. They can push through into the Nexus towers. Rosethorn just chunking out Tomio entirely.
Rosethorn.
Snip goes right through him. CLG Academy still not dropping a single member. They won't do it either. Goal, man, oh man. Evil Geniuses tried, but CLG Academy are the ones that prevail.
It was a back and forth game, but I think CLG's conviction when they make these calls. They are playing as a 5-man unit, and EG's ability to deal with it was just not there. And a lot of times we saw Skytech getting picked off, them not being able to set up that split push around Surdy early enough for them to really open up the map. And CLG did make a couple mistakes in trying to get that one in their favor, but ultimately at the end of the day, they were the ones that were able to find that big pick on Saligo, desync those death timers, and that's all they needed to make sure that they ended the game on that Baron push.
I'm just floored by how far CLG Academy were willing to push. I mean, to some extent, from their history, I'm looking especially at that one Immortals Academy game where they were down and Kassadin pentakill, and off the back of they say, you know what? Let's go Baron. Just right now, two-man Baron. You know, why not? And they somehow still pull the game out under their butts to no avail, despite what seemed like a very dismal and bleak situation in that game. Same thing similar here. Surdy was getting monstrous on the Jax. We'd seen back and forth fights from between both teams, and yet CLG Academy through thick and thin are just pushing through and through and through. And I love that word you said, conviction. Their conviction to not let anything from Evil Geniuses dissuade them from taking what they believe is rightfully theirs. When we come back from this break, we'll be joined by Kangas once again and draking down that second half.